90% of investors will look back a year from now and regret missing this. Why? Because what I'm about to show you is a rare opportunity, one that most people completely overlook. It's not a stock tip, it's not hype, it's a structural shift in the market that could redefine wealth for anyone who acts early. Think about the last time you saw an opportunity that everyone else ignored. Maybe it was tech stocks in the late 1990s, Bitcoin in 2012, or the early recovery after the 2008 financial crisis. Those who acted made extraordinary gains. Those who hesitated watched from the sidelines. Today, we are standing at the edge of another such moment. The signals are clear, the conditions are aligned, yet 90% of investors are still following old rules, ignoring the warning signs, and preparing to regret it later. In this video, I'll break down exactly what's happening in the market, why it's unprecedented, and how you can position yourself to be part of the 10% who capitalize while others panic. For decades, investors have relied on predictable strategies: diversify, hold for the long term, rely on bonds for safety, and trust the market to behave like it did in the past. But the financial world is changing faster than most people realize. Interest rates, inflation, corporate profits, and emerging technologies are creating conditions that make these old rules almost irrelevant. Millions of investors are making the same mistake, expecting the future to mirror the past. The result? Missed opportunities, flat returns, and the slow erosion of wealth. Look around, while stock indices are reaching new highs, the average investor feels stuck. Housing prices are soaring, inflation is eating into income, and savings rates are at historic lows. Meanwhile, corporate profits are at record levels. The gap between asset growth and real economic growth has never been wider. This divergence is dangerous because most investors are unprepared. They wait for confirmation, rely on outdated advice, and watch as the early movers capture the majority of gains. And statistically, that's about 90% of people. The question is, will you act now, or look back a year from today wishing you had? Let's break down the numbers. Since 2010, real personal income in the US has grown only about 50% after adjusting for inflation. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 has surged nearly 300%. Housing prices in major cities have more than doubled. Gold and Bitcoin are hitting record highs, and corporate profits are at levels we've never seen before. The financial system is creating wealth, but only for those positioned in assets. History shows us what happens when most investors ignore structural shifts. In the late 1990s, technology stocks transformed the financial landscape. Early investors saw gains that changed their lives, while those who waited stayed on the sidelines. In 2009, early adopters of post-financial crisis equities experienced one of the largest bull markets in modern history. Opportunities like this rarely repeat, but when they do, they often outperform almost every other market move. Now, we are seeing a combination of factors that align to create a similar moment. 1. Emerging technologies, AI, green energy, blockchain, are growing faster than expected. 2. Monetary policy shifts, capital is flowing into risk assets at an unprecedented rate. 3. Market psychology, investors are overly cautious, creating a lag that early movers can exploit. Even the numbers in everyday life show the divergence. While asset prices are skyrocketing, the average investor's income growth and savings rate have stagnated. Most people are trapped in a system where wealth compounds for the few while the majority struggles to keep up. And history tells us the first ones to act in these environments usually capture outsized returns. Now, imagine yourself a year from today. You watch others post gains in portfolios, in crypto, in tech, and in emerging markets. You knew the signals were there, but you hesitated. That feeling, that mix of regret, frustration, and self-recrimination, is more painful than any loss in the market. Regret is one of the strongest emotions in investing. It's not just numbers, it's missed opportunity, lost momentum, and the knowledge that you had all the information to act but didn't. Most investors will experience this, because the human tendency is to wait for certainty. But by the time certainty appears, the window has often closed. Let's be honest, this is exactly what happened in 1999 to many investors who avoided tech, and in 2009 to those who ignored the early stages of recovery. They watched life-changing gains slip through their fingers. The difference today is that the signals are even clearer, and the opportunity is structured to favor those who move decisively now. This is not a vague chance, it's a strategic alignment that historically produces extraordinary results. Ignoring it is, statistically, one of the most costly mistakes you could make as an investor. So, what is this opportunity, exactly? Right now, certain sectors and asset classes are uniquely positioned to benefit from technological adoption, government incentives, and macroeconomic trends. History shows the first movers in these environments capture massive gains, often multiples of what latecomers achieve. Consider the electric vehicle boom. Early investors in Tesla or NIO experienced life-changing returns, while those who waited struggled to break even. Today, we are seeing the same potential in AI, renewable energy, and blockchain. Add to this undervalued sectors in traditional markets ready for a rebound, and you have a rare alignment that almost guarantees extraordinary results for early movers. The key is knowing where to look, understanding which assets are fundamentally poised for growth, and acting decisively. Most investors wait for confirmation, assuming it's safer, but that delay often costs for more than any calculated risk. By positioning yourself now, while the majority is hesitant, you can capture the gains that most people will only watch from the sidelines. It is also important to diversify intelligently. Don't put all your capital in one asset, spread across sectors and opportunities that show strong fundamentals. This ensures upside while managing risk. In short, the strategy is simple: educate, position, act. Here's how to start. First, educate yourself, know the sectors, technologies, and macro trends that are creating this rare moment. Second, audit your portfolio to find areas where you can safely allocate capital into high-potential assets. Third, time your moves. Early positioning matters more than perfection. WIVE created a step-by-step resource that identifies sectors, emerging technologies, and actionable strategies that could outperform traditional investments. Our clients are already positioning themselves to benefit while others hesitate. This isn't speculation, it's strategy grounded in historical precedent and current market analysis. The truth is, 90% of investors will look back wishing they had acted. Don't be part of that group. Act now, learn the opportunities, and position yourself for gains that few others will capture. Remember, opportunities like this don't come often. Acting early, informed, and decisively is the key to building wealth while others hesitate. You don't need to predict every market move, but by understanding trends and positioning yourself wisely, you can ensure you're part of the 10% who seize the opportunity instead of the 90% who regret. Start today, stay informed, and make sure your next year is defined by action and growth, not regret.